often put it this way. In order for us to be in the state that we're in today as people, we have to be out of our minds. We literally have to be crazy. It is necessary for us to be crazy. It is necessary for us to be backwards. It is necessary for us to be maladjusted. It is necessary for us to be disunited. It is necessary for us to be self-hating. It is necessary for us to be filled with an inferiority complex. In a world where the European is essentially about 10% of the world's population, if that 10% is to continue to rule over the other 90%, it must keep that 90% out of its mind. It must keep that 90% in a state of deception. It must keep...
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good night, whatever time it is that you're watching this. It is Conversations with Brian and Veautry once again. My esteemed guest, Veautry Vaughan. He's my cousin. As you guys know, what I want to do is present our history through the eyes of everybody in our community. A lot of people in our community don't get a chance to share their stories, so my job is to present their stories to each and every one of you. This is part 2 of a great conversation, and I want him and anybody who has history in their mind to come on and share with us so we can share with people so we can continue to grow and grow together instead of growing apart. As I stated, this is my cousin, Veautry Vaughan. Thank you for coming on again. How you feeling today?
Well, I feel good, Brian, and it's good to see you again and talk to you. Because, you know, God, like I told you, God sent to me because, like I was telling you, you know, I want to see myself on a movie. And so,
Oh, yeah.
God knows I had an interesting life, you know, especially for a black man. And you know, I don't mind sharing my ups, my downs, and whatever, you know, because I got a story to tell, and I hope that it would inspire somebody because I came up from a Christian family. And so I always had God in my life, even when I was young. And but I didn't know what he was until I got later on in life. And shoot, I wasted a whole lot of time by not listening, you know, to him. But the sooner you start listening to God, you know, it's better for you. But anyway, you know, I want to tell this, and I would love for you to share it with your kids and stuff, because you can hear something that where I grew up and how y'all growing up is totally, you know. And I just want to show that we need to get back to loving each other more, because we too far apart, and we need to get back together as families that used to eat together every day, and especially on the weekend, you know, on Sunday for sure. But we don't do things like that no more, you know. And so I just wanted you to hear my beginnings, and I hope you get close to my end, because I don't want you to see my end, because I won't know nothing about it. I want to see it myself.
Hey. Like, we don't want to think about the end. The end is, we got a long time for the end. We got a lot of time for the end. But yeah, you know what? I totally agree with you when you mention eating together, because there's no TV. I personally see, I'm a person who believes that the art of conversation has died. And I remember being at the table with my siblings and talking about things. Even though I was a little boy, I'm hearing them talk about things that older young people talk about. And then you're at the table with your parents or your grandparents, and that's how you knew how to talk. That's how you knew how to talk, listen. And now all you get is text messages, and they don't even spell out the words anymore. It's instead of LOL, I mean, laugh out loud. It's LOL
Yeah,
because you want
I
people
don't
to
know.
understand that you're laughing. And
Well,
it's a
those
church.
old folks. You know, those old folks don't know nothing about no LOL and all them you and all this what they mean and stuff. HH and all that. I just spell it out.
Hey, hey, I'm one of the old folks then, because a lot of times I'm looking at messages like, ooh, I knew I was crossing that old folks status when once my daughter called me to complain about her friends. And she was like, yeah, Dad, and yeah, Dad, and yeah, Dad. And I'm listening, I'm following her. And then she said, I'll never forget this day. She said, and I forgot the young lady name she was talking about. She was like, she was doing the most. I was like, hey, wait a minute. What is doing the most? Oh, that's doing too much. I said, okay, finish. And I was like, yeah, I'm old now. I said, if I don't understand the slang, that means I done reached the old stage. But I'm good with old. I want to be old. Old is the goal.
Well, we could go back to our slang, you know, because they can't understand our slang from the past. You know, we had our own little old slang back then too.
Yeah.
You know, because we didn't let our parents know what we was talking about all the time.
Yeah.
So they just put it back on with us, but they done changed the language.
Yeah, they done changed it on us. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
okay, and something else, and you know what, like you know how they say, well, I believe in this thing. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's called epigenetics, and that means the things that how your parents thought and felt, their personality is in you too. And like you mentioned the church, and I believe, like, even if you're not a spiritual person, you know, you're not the type of person to come to church. I think the church is important because that's where you got the information about what was going on in the neighborhood.
Oh,
And
definitely.
can you expound on that?
Okay, well, we'll see what we can do there, you know.
Okay.
Well, I got to start back where I remember,
Okay.
you know, where I could start talking. But
Mhm.
I can remember being responsible for my sister for sure.
Okay.
And wherever I went, she went. Wherever
Mhm.
she wanted to go, I had to go, you know. And so I had to take care of my sister, and we played together. We did everything. She was like a little tomboy to me.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because she had to do what I did, you know. And so I loved to clam and do whatever, you know. And so she had to follow me around if she wanted to play. Because my mom and daddy didn't believe in her going nowhere unless she went with me or they took her or something, you know,
Mhm.
because she loved her babies.
Mhm. Mhm.
But my sister was protected from all areas. But I was a little bad little boy, you know. So I had a tricycle, and so me and that tricycle ride up and down the sidewalk until I could finally inch my way around the corner.
Mhm.
And because my mama had to see me off the porch, because she didn't want me out of her sight in the sense of the word.
Mhm.
So I was just allowed to go to the corners on my bike.
Mhm. I remember those times. Funny thing is, I was just talking to somebody a couple of days ago how uh two of my friends, Clayton Sims and Yancey Beatty, are my friends because it was the other way. My sisters had to take me. I was the youngest. And my sister Phyllis, her friend Penny, was Yancey big sister. And Yancey couldn't leave the house with Penny couldn't leave the house without Yancey. And I couldn't leave the house. Phyllis couldn't leave the house without me. So I was hanging out with Yancey, and we still friends to this day. And Clayton, his sister Abigail, used to hang with my older sister, and we're still friends to this day. So I'm familiar with that, and I remember, hey, if she couldn't yell your name and you heard it, you had a problem.
Oh yeah. You had to be in Holland district.
Yeah, and they weren't gonna holler twice.
No, there wasn't.
Yeah.
Because you don't see that switch coming.
Oh yeah.
My mama kept some good switches because every time we came to the country, she got her some for me.
Oh yeah.
And she didn't get none for my sister, but Geraldine, she was just humble, you know, but she was tough. Like I said, she climbed trees just like I did and stuff, you know, and you know, played games and stuff that we played. We
Okay,
played.
you know what? I never asked that question. What's some of the games y'all played as young people?
Okay. We did play hide and seek. Well, at night in the evening time, cause not too late. But hide and seek, uh, catch and go, and we played four corners where we had to draw a square and divide it into four corners and play ball like that.
I played that game.
Yeah, we played a lot of base softball,
Mm-hmm.
talk ball,
Mm-mm.
where you get tops and throw them tops. But you had to have an eye to hit that cork ball. I mean that cork, the ball top.
Uh-huh. I know
You
what you're
know,
talking about.
yeah, we used to collect them ball top because there wasn't no cans back then. You know,
Okay.
with drinks in them. You had bottles. Everything was bottles because you can make money. We made money off the bottles. You know, 'cause all you had to
Mm-hmm.
do, you had to
I
trade
definitely
them in.
remember that.
Yeah. And so we get them cops. And see, every day we'll go around to the different uh, soda machines and stuff and catch the where them people and got them sodas and pop them tops and we'll empty all them trays out for the peoples, you know.
Okay.
And we'll get us a broomstick that we stole one of our mama's brooms or something and broke the broom off
Oh
and
boy.
put it back. And so we'll be hitting them tops with that bat, I mean with that stick. And so we
Okay.
had lines out, like, you know, lines out in front. And when you get a single line, a double line, a triple line, and then you had a homer line, you know. And
Oh,
so
okay.
and you had somebody pitching them tops to you.
Oh,
And so you got to strike out now. You gonna strike out or either hit it or not.
oh yeah. Sound like a lot of fun. You know
It
what?
was.
You know what? Me and my good friend, he like a brother to me. His name's Anthony. We used to do that with pennies. And you know, pitching pennies. And if you 3 fingers away from the line, that's a base hit. 2 fingers away from the line. No, yeah, you're 3 fingers away from the line is a base hit, 2 fingers a double, 1 finger a triple, and if you got in line, it was a home run.
Oh yeah, well we did something like that too. We did it with paper too, you know. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like them flying papers, you know, you turn them into squares and then you flip them
Mm-hmm.
and how you land and all that. Football, you know,
Mm-hmm.
all them things we made up. And we made all our toys and stuff like scooters
Mm-hmm.
and the banana seats that y'all see on them kids' bikes and stuff. Sure, we invented that stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
Talk to
made
me.
them out,
How did that
yeah,
go?
made them out of a piece of board and some old rags and stuff, and hook it up so it'll stay on your seat, on your other seat,
Never
and
knew that.
yeah, and then we got more sophisticated and put a rod up into it
Mm.
where people sit on the back there. You know, you can carry somebody back there.
See, I never knew that. I never knew that. And you know
Yes.
what is funny? What was you about to say? No, I'm
No, we just had to utilize. You ever heard of a pop gun?
mm-mm, mm-mm.
That's a piece of cane that we would cut off about 12 inches long, because the longer it was, the more powerful it is. But you very seldom could get a piece of cane that was not too long.
Okay.
And we would get that cane and clean out the inside of that cane and make it smooth like in there. And then we'll get another smaller piece and so we can put it up in there. You know what I'm saying? You put it on there with a top, a spool. We used to have put, thread came on. We get that spool, and then we'll put that stick in that spool so we can ram it in there. And then you bevel that. I mean, you chew on that end of that tip. So when it go in there, it like make a suction.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? And you put it in there, but first you got to put a China berry in there. You
What's
know what
that?
a China berry?
No, I don't know what that is.
Grow on the tree. You can't eat them. Bird can. You can't. But it's a berry that come off in April. You might could see some if you came down here. But I make sure you do it if they, I show you what I'm talking about.
Okay.
But anyway, you get them China berries, and then you stick it in that hole of that staff, and then you put you put your staff in there. I'm sorry, put your staff in there, and then you say, pop it, and it make a noise, and it will sting if you close enough.
Oh,
That's how we used to have battles with our bow and arrows and stuff, that we done made. Lucky we ain't dead. Some of us, cause some of them bow and arrows was dangerous coming over them.
You know what? See, stuff like that, like when you think about stuff like that, let me know what you think about this. I think that reduces violence and the gun violence in the community because at that point, a gun becomes a tool or a toy. It ain't, I'm going to go destroy somebody with you use your gun for what you need it for. These people only know, these young people and people in general that are outside of the South, because everybody I know that's in the South, the guns don't mean nothing to them. But once you get in these urban areas, gun is a weapon. It's something to destroy. And everybody know from the South, it's for hunting. It's for doing stuff like you were doing. Yeah. It's not just something that okay, I'm angry, I go get this. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, I sort of got lost. I go over that one more time.
Okay, I think if by you, like I remember the first conversation, you was like, hey, I would go get my dad gun, had it behind the school, and me and my friend would go hunt. You and your friends were making guns. That I think we
did make zip guns, but we used to hunt with and stuff.
Right.
We didn't use them to hurt nobody.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. I think you guys saw guns as a tool, almost like a hammer or a saw or something. And these kids only know guns to destroy things. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that they grew up in a mentality that changed over time, and then people want to get rich and stuff like this, and made guns more accessible. And like you said, we bought guns to use to hunt, and unless you just wanted a different gun because they had different size, like a 12 gauge or 10 gauge and gauges that you could get, so it's all depending on what you were hunting that you got a certain gauge. Yeah, but you had a rifle, you had to be a dead-eye shooter. Because that bullet carry a long ways and stuff. And so most people that shot rifle was dead eye. You can believe me, my daddy was one. And And he ain't need but one shot at it.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing. The guns now, you got 37 bullets trying to hit one thing. Like,
Yeah.
you ain't got to be a good shot no more. Like, if I shoot at something 37 times, I'm going to hit it.
Yeah, one of them going to do something.
Right. Yeah. You can shoot at something 37 times with your eyes closed and hit it.
And see, you ain't want to damage the meat. We didn't want to damage the meat.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
that blood shot, we call it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Go hit him where he gonna bleed all over the place, you know. You just want to hit him in that head somewhere up there.
Mm. And see, yeah, because I can remember being younger. I'll never forget this. I went into my best friend's, you know, little boy at the time. I couldn't have been no more than 8 or 9. And I went into me and he was like, hey, come in the house with me. I got to do, he had to do something. And I walked in the house and sitting on the kitchen table was a 38. It was the first time I ever seen a gun in my life. A real gun. You see them on TV and in the movies. And I was like, wow, you know, and now, you know, I just looked, I said, wow, a gun. And just kept going. It was nothing for this gun to be sitting in the middle of the house on the table. He said, hey, oh, and then he grabbed it. He said, oh, this is my daddy's gun. And took it to his parents' room. He came back out. He did whatever he had to do when he left. It didn't mean anything to me in 1977, 78, at 7, 8 years old. Looking back, you would probably go to jail having a gun sit outside your house like that. Yeah. Everybody in the world be scared to death, but in the South, people have guns all over the house and it don't mean nothing.
Well, you know, you didn't keep them loaded necessarily either, right? You know, yeah, you know, because, well, you know, guns was accessible, but you had to load them most of the time because that's one thing. And then you had to know how to handle them and everything. You didn't mess with a gun. But kids respect you, you know, because they had their little pistols and so they could play with their pistols, you know. You don't play with this gun. It's understood that it don't bother that. And most of the time, like I said, they keep it loaded. Now, if they had a revolver or something like that, but a shotgun, but they didn't lay the revolver necessarily around. Now, I don't remember no revolvers being laying around.
Yeah, I would never forget it. It's the first time I've seen a gun in my life. I looked at the gun. I was like, wow, gun on the kitchen table. Didn't mean nothing to me. We went on about our day. We didn't go play with it. He said, oh, it's my daddy gun. Took it to his bedroom. Came back out. I think he had to take out the garbage or something. I don't know. I don't even remember what it was. But the thing that stuck out, I just looked at that gun and it, you know, it did. I didn't want to touch it. I didn't want to play with it. It was just like, and he looked at it, he said, oh, my daddy left the gun out. Went right in the room, put him back, came out. He did whatever he had to do, and we went right back outside. I don't even think we ever talked about it. Yeah. And I think that's one of the problems. We just like with most things, we don't talk to these young people about anything, and we expect them to know everything.
Oh yeah. They think they know anyway.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy. Y'all just don't know, because I love to trick my great grands for sure, you know. Because I enjoy, you know, I know what's going to be, I know the outcome. And so I just let them do whatever. And I just try to tell them, but they won't listen. So finally they'll see. And sometimes, but I try not to let them hurt themselves. That's the only thing.
Okay.
But sometimes you have to let them learn a lesson to get it over with.
Yeah. Hey, sometimes you can't tell somebody not to fall. You got to watch them get up after they fall and be like, oh, okay. Yeah,
you know, tell them why they fall, you know, something, you know, because if you didn't do it, you wouldn't have done it. You know, it wouldn't have happened in the first place, you know, because I told you that water was down there on that floor. And you go over there and play it and bam, you know.
Yeah. I told you. I remember like seeing little babies touch stuff and they go hot. And then they'll touch a little bit, he burn his hand, he get the crying. And next thing you know, no matter what they ain't want you to touch, hot. Jump back. Oh, I don't want that anymore. I don't want that anymore. Yeah. So finish telling me about growing up in Alabama and in the South, please.
Okay. Well, I can go back to when me and my sister, because she was, a year younger than I were. Her name Geraldine, by the way.
Okay.
My
How you doing,
my only sister, because I only have one sister and one brother, but he wasn't around now because I'm 6 years older than my youngest brother. And so, Geraldine and I had it made for the first 6 years of my life. Well, till he came along, especially for me. And that the night that Russell was born, because I had to run and get the what you call them nurses that deliver babies. God,
midwife.
Yeah, midwife. I had to run to get the midwife because my mama was in labor. And so I got back to the house. My daddy was getting the water and all this kind of stuff, heated up and everything. My sister and I was in the front room, sitting there on the couch. And so all of a sudden we heard, ah! Ah! Me and Jerry like was out of his sleep, we just woke up. What was that? And I said, Lord have mercy, boy. We got a baby in here hollering like that. And I had to listen to that all the time. It used to be quiet in this house. I ain't had to change no diapers, and I ain't had to get no bottle. There was not no bottle on my mama breastfed, but I had to do all the other stuff because she couldn't do it, Because I was the biggest. I was 6 years old. I said, Lord have mercy. Me and my sister said, no, we had it made, We had it made. But anyway, and then he was
gave you a job.
Yeah, and then he got sick. He was sick while he was a baby, He was always sick and stuff. So we had to carry him to the doctors. And shoot, I had to carry the baby because my mama, was, still unable to be carried that far. And so I had to do most of the carrying. Eventually he got better, but that still didn't stop my journey with my brother. And me and my sister. But we went to church.
Okay.
And we did all kind of activities, like, doing church. They had certain things like the sunbeam and different little organizations in the church that we had, in the choir, usher board. We did them all. We did them all. And so whatever Sunday it was doing, you always had a practice or something else before then. But we could walk to church because it wasn't too far from it. But if it was raining or something like that, then Dad would probably drive the car. Cause my mama didn't play that getting her baby wet and all this kind of stuff then. That one thing he did change, because we didn't have a car before my brother was born. Because my daddy worked at the railroad track, railroad. And we would, whenever we went somewhere, we had just get on the train and go. And but then they laid him off. And so after he got him another job, Then he got him a car.
Mm.
That's when my brother was born. When right after he got that job. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right after he got that job, then my brother was born. And so we couldn't ride on a bicycle. No, all of us couldn't ride on a bicycle no more. Before then, everybody get on the bicycle. He had a swing bicycle and shoot. He could put me in the handbars and my mama crossbars, and my sister would sit behind him on
Oh,
the
wow.
back. Yeah, in a basket. And so we all could ride on that bicycle.
Wow. And see, you know what? That sounds extreme. Like this sounds like a lot of joy, a lot of togetherness. You know, some people are like, well, that's uncomfortable, but you know what? It brings togetherness. I want to talk about, you know, I want to keep on this path, but from my point of view, maybe it's not other people, but I know when I hear about the South, especially Alabama, Mississippi, it's like y'all were under constant terror from the white folks. It don't sound like that when you talk to me. Why, you know, it tough, or is that just what they put out there?
Well, you stayed in your place, really, you know. You know them white folks didn't like you. So you ain't know you going over there messing around over there. You either had to fight or get killed or something, you know, hurt. Because they were gonna have all the ammo and stuff like that anyway, you know.
Okay.
And then you know that the certain areas was strictly Klan. That means you ain't coming through here at night for sure. And you ain't want to get stopped in none of them areas because you either got to show enough fight to get out of there or else they hurt you. And so you stayed away from that. And see, back then, blacks had a Bible called the Green Book.
I heard of that. A Green Book, yep.
You had to have one of them if you were going to travel back then. And so you know where not to go. You couldn't get no gas or nothing, you know. Daytime was, you going to always be behind, you know, you weren't going to get your gas before the white man did at all. You weren't going to do nothing, you going to wait. You got to go to the back doors, you know. You might not have a bathroom. So, and back then they had road rest areas where you can rest. See, that's most of the time that's what blacks did, rest in that rest area. But you didn't stay over there overnight or nothing. You might not be resting no more there.
It'll be your last resting place, huh?
Your last resting place. Cause they could be riding by in their car and see you over there.
Oh, wow.
They know, especially if they live in that area, you know.
So you know what it sounds like. Like me, I grew up in one of the toughest neighborhoods in America. I lived on the north end of that neighborhood, so I really didn't get the negativity that you hear about on the news, but I still saw a lot of it. Cabrini Green. And when you lived outside of that neighborhood, we lived in a neighborhood called Old Town Lincoln Park. And when you live there, you go, like even growing up, I didn't realize the danger that I was in. Like I tell this story about like me, my buddy Anthony, and my buddy Sean. He kind of like my brother-in-law, well, former brother-in-law. We grew up together, and I can remember saying this, and when even saying it to you right now sounds crazy as all outdoor. It was this one. You seen the movie Cooley High?
Yeah, I remember it.
Okay, the movie Cooley High, that school got knocked down, and they turned it into a football field. And it was right next to it. It was this restaurant called Sammy. So you know, you get your summer job, that money burn the hole in your pocket. Your mama cooking, but that money burn the hole in your pocket. You gotta go get you something. You're gonna spend that money on something. So I can remember me, Anthony, and Sean saying, "Hey man, it's about to get dark. Let's hurry up and walk through Carson Field before they start shooting." Now, at this point, I'm like, I had to be crazy to walk through that field knowing at any point you could get shot. But and it was normal. So I guess that's how it was in the South. You just knew what you could and could not do, and it was regular life.
Yeah, you stayed out, you had to, if you wanted to live in the sense of the word, because you just had to respect those white folks.
Mm-hmm.
And so we stayed in our area. So like I said, we had everything we needed, really.
Mm-hmm.
Even though a lot of some of the businesses in our neighborhood was, was white, but they respected everybody in them. They know if they're gonna sell anything, they're gonna have to respect everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the credit and stuff, came through them, a lot of it, because they could afford it. To wait on their money necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
You
They
had a
had
lot of
that too. It was a brother though. It was a brother. His name is Terry Collins, and he had of course, a store called Terry's grocery store called Terry. He had everything that they had in the big giant store, and
oh yeah,
and he was you would go in there, and I remember him writing down. You go in there with a note. Some people went in there with a note from their mom, and he would write down.
oh yeah.
Later on
You
in the
had
month,
you had black stores. You had black stores that did the same thing, but they couldn't carry, the amount that the whites could carry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But everybody got along.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, we talked about you were in school last time. Let's talk about high school, because you mentioned the band. When we talked one-on-one, you mentioned the band and that kind of thing. Let's talk to me about high school, because we didn't cover high school last time.
Okay. Well, Central High School marching Wildcats, the mighty Wildcats.
All right,
They was 100 strong at that time.
man.
Yeah, they were 100 strong, and they took pride because we had the best drum, the best director it was. But everything in our high school worked to benefit the community and everything, because but band, since you want to talk about that, was the best band in Mobile, the best band in Alabama, because sometimes Florida A&M would come through town and stuff like that, doing Mardi Gras and stuff, and so we always was behind. We was always behind Florida A&M. Alabama State and others, Alabama State and Alabama A&M, they might have been behind us, but we was right behind Florida A&M. Now, Grambling and stuff didn't come over here because they went to New Orleans most of the time. But Florida A&M would stop in here every now and then. But we was on par with them.
That's good.
So, yeah. And
Because to this day, they have one of the best bands.
Yeah, the Majorettes was pretty and fine. Lord have mercy. They came down the street, everybody stepped back so they could see it,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they didn't have to push nobody back, because back then they didn't have barriers in the street to keep people from coming out in the street. But now, back then, shoot, all it was them coming down the street. They demanded the whole street, 100 strong, plus the other little peoples in there too. But that was just the band. And all of them took pride the uniform and all that was together, you know. And then you had to be smart to be in the band too. Well, you had to do a lot of practice and stuff like that because you had to, education was first. You didn't play the drums because you could play it. You played the drum because you could play it and then get your lesson. You know? Yeah, but it was pride there, you know. And then our school put on a lot of skits and different functions during the year. And plus we had the best basketball team in the city.
Okay.
Well, we had points of, you know, doing football, but we always had a rival. And we played a rival game on Thanksgiving against Mobile County every year.
Okay.
And this was a stylish show when you come out there during Thanksgiving on, you know, to that game. Everybody dressed up in suits and ties and all that kind of stuff, trying to impress the girls and stuff. And everybody looked good. But, you know, they don't have that game no more because they integrated.
I would think that's always would always go on.
Huh?
I wonder what stopped it.
Integration?
Oh.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
they closed down Central all the way down because it was in the black area, and so wasn't no whites coming over here to the black area to go to school. So all the black people go to the white schools, you know. And that's how that ended up.
You know what? Let me ask you about that. How do you feel about integration? Knowing what you know, how do you feel about integration?
Well, they wanted me to go integrate when it first started. You know, they were trying to get all the smarter kids to go to these schools because they knew that we was behind in school anyway, because like I told you, we was 3 grades behind anyway. Well, you know, they gave us the whole edition, what I'm saying. And so we always behind, and so we had to be able to catch up. And so they was always wanted the kids to go, but I was working, and so throwing papers, and I know that I had to study hard just to do that work and, you know, go to school now. And so I told them, no, I ain't going. But I don't know where anybody in my class went that I know of, but the next classes started because you had to go in your area where you stayed. If you stayed in a certain area, you had to go there. And so that's how that happened. But I just didn't, you know, I had an option of going or not, you know, or they were trying to get the, you know, go kids that can handle that, I guess. But like I said, I was working throwing papers, and so I didn't want to give them my money. Go get my butt whooped and stuff.
Yeah, life hard enough without that, right?
Yeah, you know.
So if you could do it over, would you not integrate the schools, or would you still do it?
Well, I don't mind integration.
Okay.
It's just I don't mind the people's. That's what I mind.
Oh, okay.
People's mind changed. I ain't got nothing against it because God made us all. You know, like Adam and Eve started all this. You get what I'm saying? And Adam and Eve was of dark color, you know. And you know the history behind that, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, indeed, sir. Yes, indeed.
And so we all started from the same seed. We all got each other's blood, you know. we all got some of each other's blood.
Mm-hmm.
That's how come it can work so good, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it might be A, B, C, or D or something, you know, but it's used. But
Okay. Well, finish telling me about high school. Oh, did you play in the band? And what sports did you play?
man, I was too little for everything. Or you know, I was too short to play basketball because we had giants when I was in school. And then I was too little to play football because they had grown men still going to school playing football back there when I was a kid. And so if you weren't a big boy, you couldn't get on no football team because they wanted to, you know, Central had a good team. Well, most of the teams, well, back then that was the only way for somebody who went into service to come back and get an education, you know.
Mm.
They didn't have, you know, what you call it, them schools where you can go after you drop out.
Oh,
You had
continuation
to,
school.
yeah, you had to go through the regular school if you were gonna get your diploma.
Mm.
And so
Okay.
a lot of them boys come back, they played football because they in school. There wasn't no
Mm.
age limit per se then.
Oh,
I
wow.
think I, I think they could play until they was 21 or somewhere along in there.
Oh, wow. So y'all did have grown men on the team. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see some of the guys went in service when they're 17 for 2 years, you know, because you get drafted. So you
Mm.
didn't have to stay there but 2 years, but then you can come back and they got a little money to come to school, go to school anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And so they come to school to get that money.
Wow. You know, it's the world is so different. Like from what you're saying, education was the thing. Learn, learn, learn. And now they're trying to get rid of the Department of Education. They want you to be as dumb as possible. And they tell you it was worse back then. But if you forcing me to learn and you want me to be dumb, I would rather deal with the nonsense that y'all was dealing with than to be stupid and not know anything.
Well, you know, that's what they want you to do, to stay dumb, you know, because
Mm-hmm.
education is the key.
Mm-hmm.
Education is the key to life in the sense of the
Mm-hmm.
word. Because you can't do nothing without some knowledge or wisdom or something. You know, you got to
Mm-hmm.
gain all that. And so you know, they kept us down, but you know, it's up to us now. And see, that's what I'm trying to say now. You know, they didn't want us to learn, but we did.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to pass it on and keep it going because
Mm-hmm.
I had to
Mm-hmm.
bring my mom and dad in the newspaper
Mm-hmm.
just for them to understand it, you know, because they couldn't read it for themselves and understand it.
Mm-hmm.
But to hear me saying it or something, they could
Mm-hmm.
understand it better, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But for them to read it, they got to
Mm-hmm.
figure out what that word is first.
Mm-hmm.
I wish you could see some of the letters my mama wrote me when I was in service. Yeah, you talk about them U's and all that other stuff. I had to figure out what she was trying to say. But she was
Hey,
gonna yeah,
and yeah, yeah, I can definitely understand that because
yeah.
yeah, you was telling me that like even your grandmother used to be enslaved, so
Uh,
they weren't trying to
great.
get
It was a
your great
great,
grandmother,
great,
right?
great, 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 two greats.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, so it had to be tough back then, man.
yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing and that's something that gives you life experience as well. You 17, you go into the military, you come out when you're 19, and then you go back to the school and continue your education. That don't even sound like a bad idea now.
Oh yeah, but they gave you structure, you know, because
Mm-hmm.
we had to go through the draft. You
Mm,
got drafted back there.
mm,
And so you didn't have no choice if you was physically able to go in, you
mm-hmm.
you had to go and serve.
Mm.
And so you had 2 years to do it. And I think they should bring that back just because them kids had all kind of structure, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you came back a man, if you did what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I agree. Because then it ain't no you ain't no being pitiful and sorry for yourself. You knew what the world had for you. And you knew
Oh
what
yeah.
you wanted to have.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you. I think that'll be a great idea today.
No, not because I want them to fight or anything like
Right.
that, but it's you if a war come out and break out over here, you gotta fight anyway.
Yeah,
And
you
so
gonna
you
fight
might
anyway.
know how to fight. Because these kids, all they know how to do is shoot. But it's more than
Mm-hmm.
just shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Warfare is terrible.
Mm-hmm. I got a good friend of mine. He's coming on in a couple weeks. His name is Jesse. Ironically, his name is Jesse James. But he was sent to the Vietnam War. And that's how we became friends. That one day he was talking what these guys was talking about, what they would have done on the planes at 9/11 in New York, when the buildings went down. This is what I would have done. I would have done this. And he stopped him. He said, boy, have you ever cut somebody's throat? And he was like, no. He said, you ever seen somebody bleed to death in front of you? He was like, no. He said, you don't know what you were doing to face all that blood then. And me and him started talking. That's how we became friends more than 20 years ago, about 22, 23 years ago. That's how, and he started telling me these stories. And like you said, once you get that, you know, I was 30 at the time, 30, 31 years old. Well, I have to be at least 32 because I used to work in them buildings for 9/11 was in. But I didn't, you know, it never dawned on me because I think I might have been stupid enough to say what I would have done too. And when he started explaining life, it woke me up like, man, I don't know what I would have done. You know, so when you say the military gives you life, you know, gives you structure and focus, I'm agreeing. I agree with you totally.
Oh yeah.
That, you know,
Yeah.
and I would say, huh? What's that again?
I was just gonna say, even though it was integrated to a certain point, you know, because it was hard to make, you know, officer and all this kind of stuff, you know, still was, you know, prejudice there. But at least you had an opportunity if you really, you know, applied yourself. But it gave you structure, especially to be a man. And then, when you're in battle, you don't care what color you
You trying to get home.
you know, you got to do your job, or I got to do my job. Or most likely, everybody had a different job. Man, when I was in the Navy, I was on a training ship, U.S. Harlem Dixon. We trained officers that were going to be, you know, from the Naval Academy. We trained them for the, you know, combat on the ship. And so I was over the gun mount. This gun mount that we had, I want to say it was a 5. I don't know what it was, a 5. I can't remember all them inches now, but it could throw some shells way on inland, you know, like some 30, 40 miles inland or something like that. And then we had them smaller guns that could shoot at them airplanes and stuff. So we had to train them to do this. And so I was over this gun mount. And so you had to, a bomb, well, what it was, they call it a projectile and a powder. You had to put them in there separately. You'll put the powder in first, and then you'll put the projector in next. But as soon as you ram that, match the ram button, that automatically start that timer on that projector. so it'll explode at a certain distance. You know, if you got it set, you know, it'll be set to fire at a certain distance or range, you know. And so you had to make sure it went in there right. If it didn't go right, you got to get it back out of there and get it over the board to ship. And you got to come out of this mount, and you got all kind of junk in your way and stuff that you got to maneuver around to get this out. And so everybody had a station to stand at to get this out. You know, I'm the last one to touch this raster because I'm the captain of the mount.
Okay.
And so this dummy you know, I done trained them before we start putting in live rounds and stuff like this for weeks, because this is like a whole month we had to be with them. And so we didn't let them shoot until near the end of the training with live rounds. And so we used these live rounds to shoot in at this island. And he rammed that raster in there and wasn't in there properly, and it was cocked. And I saw that. I, you know, went into, you know, battle, you know, to get it out of there. Everybody got in their positions and everything. And so when I got that shell outside, I'm standing out on the deck because I had to go right straight on out to the deck because everybody had to go to their position instantaneously, you know, when we said rain. I got out the mount, and by the time the bullet, the projector got to me, I had no more than a few seconds to get it heaving over my head because I got to stand and hold it and throw it backwards like that, and then hit the deck.
Wow.
The jazz just, all that water just came up bullshit on me. If I didn't have had to put on my life on my hunters to keep me from going over this board, I would have went overboard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, what would have happened if you wouldn't have fixed that?
The whole ship probably would have blown up because we right over a magazine.
Oh wow.
We got all this live ammo down underneath us. Because see, it came up out of the bottom of the ship to the gun mount anyway, you know, on an elevator. It would have blew up the whole ship.
Did you get accommodation or something for that, or that's just something that you did and then nobody even know?
Ain't nobody really know it because we supposed to be practicing, you know. Yeah, and ain't nobody said nothing to me about it. All they was thankful that we still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
and that was just the dude who y'all was training, that was his fault?
Yeah, it was his fault. Because he was the one rammed it in there. He know you can't ram it in there.
And he about to be the leader or something.
Yeah. Yeah. He gonna be my commanding officer, you know.
And almost killed everybody.
Yeah.
Did you ever see him after that?
No, they went on, you know, they didn't stay on there but 30 days.
Okay.
That was the training. They get about 30 days. We come all the way from Newport, Rhode Island. We come all the way down around Cuba and shoot off in the, you know, that area down in there.
Okay. What is it? Guantanamo?
Yeah, Guantanamo. That's a high place, buddy.
Did y'all ever go to Cuba?
Yeah, we could see Cuba from the base.
Oh, you could?
Across that fence.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You're going to get shot going across that fence.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, you're going to get shot.
Yeah.
So, okay, you got out of high school, You went to the military. Then what was life like? And what year was this? And what was life like?
Well, I went in the military in '63 as a reservist.
Okay.
And you know, like I was telling you, now I flunked, and so that threw me and my sister in the same grade.
Mm-hmm.
Just doing this so I can go to college too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I stayed in there until '66.
Okay.
I went in '64. I ain't staying but 2 active years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And but all I did was played in the service, you know, had fun. I got injured in service, and so I messed up my right arm,
Mm-hmm.
and I had slipped and fell through a window in the barracks, and I had on some slides. Well,
Mm-hmm.
you know, tongues, I guess you call them. And I was walking too fast or something, and slipped and fell through the window.
Oh.
Broke the arm with this arm, but this arm came through and cut everything right across there.
Ooh.
So I didn't have no feeling or nothing in this arm. Everything was just like a rubber band, you know.
Mm.
And so I had to spend. I spent a total of maybe 9 months in the hospital
Mm.
because I had 7 operations on this arm because they were trying to connect my nerves and tendons back together.
Oh,
And
wow.
so because that's how come my hand is sort of deformed, because they was hoping that my fingers would stay straight, but slowly they grew back together. But you know, I
Mm.
got half the feeling in my hand.
Mm.
But
Wow.
but
That's
you
tough.
know, yeah, that was all experimental. They didn't think they could save my, give me movement in my hand no more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They like to mess it up, boy. Shoot, your hand can get cut off and they can put it back on now.
Put it back on. Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what? Last Friday was the 60-year anniversary of Malcolm X getting murdered. I don't like to say assassinated. Assassinated sound like they didn't kill him. It sounded like it was just, no, he was murdered. You were in the South. Well, I don't know what you were in '60s. What's that, 65? But
Well,
what was the mentality of people towards Malcolm X around you? Because from what I understand, people didn't like King, or most people didn't like King or X.
well, like I was saying earlier, everybody had different thoughts and everything, and so it's all depending on which one you was trending to the most,
Mm-hmm.
and and I didn't march or anything like that
Mm-hmm.
until I got to college. That's when I started marching and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
when I can't exactly remember when he died. You said it was in '65.
65, February 21st, 65.
Well, I had to be in service at that time, so
Okay.
I might have been unaware of a lot of things then
Oh, okay.
because you ain't have no communication like that out at sea and all that kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They were gonna just broadcast it. But I do remember him dying, getting killed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do remember him getting killed, but I just was out of touch with communication back then.
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember when Dr. King got killed.
Okay.
I was sitting in my dorm at A&M.
Okay.
Yeah, I was sitting in my dorm when the announcement came that he died.
Mm.
And when John F. Kennedy got killed. I was sitting in the class
Mm.
when he got killed.
Mm.
And somebody else got killed during that time too.
Bobby Kennedy,
Yeah, yeah, sure did.
his brother, and his son
Yeah.
is a complete idiot. His father got shot in the head and he lost his mind.
No,
So
I'm telling you, he sure ain't nothing like his daddy.
yeah.
Yeah,
He might not
yeah.
be smart as his grandson. So,
No, but that would have been a great change if he had lived, to serve out 2 terms,
mm-hmm.
because they, they was got behind the efforts of the blacks.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things happened because just like in Selma and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
it hadn't been for Bobby. Shoot, it might have not been. It might have still been that way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that finally woke them up, and let them know that people can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
Dog and water hoses and stuff in Birmingham.
Wow.
But it was rough.
You know what? When you see, I know you say it wasn't a whole lot of communication, but when you see stuff like that on TV, what goes through your mind? Because I've never, as many people I talked to, there was a lot of that, but I've never asked them. I've never known anybody who was living in Alabama at that time and an adult enough to understand what was going on around
Well, down south, you ain't had. You had to wait till news feed come in through the movie theaters and stuff
you.
to get some stuff like that, because the stations down here didn't necessarily broadcast all that was happening down here. Where you got most of your worldly news was over the movie theater, at the movie theater, where it'd be on those intermission reels and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
that's something I couldn't even imagine. You have to go through the movie theater. Now I heard of what they used to call it closed circuit TV, but I couldn't imagine waiting to have to go to the movies and between the movies see what the news is. Wow.
Yeah. And then it could be a year behind.
Whoa.
You know what I'm saying? The war
Wow.
could be over. We just not getting the results.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Earlier, when we were talking off air, you talked about, and you even mentioned it, how the high school did everything for the community, and the community was closer. Talk to me
Uh,
about that. Talk to me. What does that look like? Because I've seen a little of it, and the older I got, the further apart we've gone. But talk to me about that. How the community was all about pride and loving on each other.
okay. Well, the kids knew how to play together better,
Mm,
because we have baseball games, especially during the summer. We had baseball games, softball games, and the girls played softball and the guys played baseball.
mhm, mhm,
During the spring, the
mhm, mhm,
guys would play softball, but they wouldn't play baseball until summertime.
mhm,
And then we had traveling teams and stuff like that we get together and get on the back of a truck and go to a game somewhere out of the city and near around. And the schools would sponsor a lot of events and stuff at the school, like plays and stuff that the kids would put on,
mhm.
and like how they said, male and female wedding, whereas the male played the female and the woman would play the male.
Mm-hmm.
And shoot, I was always the one that had to play the woman because I was short, you know.
Yeah, I've been through that, the short guy thing.
Stuff like that. But we do a lot of. They used to have a lot of skits. These teachers used to, just dream up stuff. Even in the elementary school and stuff, they always had plays for the kids, and all the parents would come, to see them and stuff like that. And at churches, they have recitals and stuff like that for kids that played the piano and stuff that would bring out the community. And
Did you play the instrument?
I started playing the piano, yeah. I played the piano until I got my hand messed up.
Mm-mm.
And then after that, I couldn't hit the keys, but I should have got me a guitar, and then I could have played me a guitar, but I didn't pick it up. And so all I do try to hit a note every now and then in choir. Yeah, but I wanted to be a piano player because I wanted to play for the church.
Mm.
Yeah, I sure did. I wanted to jam on that organ. But after I got hurt in service and came back, I just didn't try to play nothing else.
I wanted to play. I'm sorry. I want to play the trumpet and the saxophone.
I just wanted to be able to sing. That's what it was. I just wanted to be. I could play the piano and sing, but I couldn't play the trumpet and sing at the same time.
Oh, no. You've been a bad joker. You do
that. Yes, indeed. Louis Armstrong didn't do that. He put that trumpet down, but he couldn't sing at the same time.
Hey, well, you pull that one off, boy. They run out of money to count for you then.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when we talk about, like, again, when we're talking offline, we were talking about how we need to enrich these young men and enrich their minds. And that's something that you really want to talk about. I want you to take over now, and I just want to listen.
Well, coming up, guys used to respect girls, per se. And guys and girls went through a ritual because their parents took them through a ritual. And if you got to have good intentions, if you're going to, really get real close to that girl, if you got, the parents are going to be in your business. And, but these guys nowadays, they don't seem to care about women's, they don't walk on the outside to protect them from getting hit or anything, because we had to walk on the side of the street to protect the woman from, from mud or whatever, splashed water or whatever, They're not courteous enough, They really don't respect each other because the girls nowadays, they just as bad as the boys. And so I just would love for them to learn how to live and appreciate each other and grow in respect for each other, because you can live a better life when you respect it. And if you don't respect each other, then you ain't living a good life to me. Mm.
That's
But
hey, that's one to grow on right there.
yeah, because God knows our parents kept us in line,
Mm-hmm.
and
Without a
they
doubt.
always wanted to just strive to do better,
Mm-hmm.
And you just didn't go out the house any kind of way,
Mm-hmm.
and you definitely didn't come back in there any other way,
Mm-hmm.
because there was something was gonna happen. But parents back then was more involved in the upbringing because we gotta come up from a segregated society
Mm-hmm.
and then grow into a better, a different society because it was sort of hard mixing with the whites
Mm-hmm.
because because you knew they hated you from just your color, but I never found color to be a hinder if your heart was there, you know,
Hmm.
because if you shut your eyes, Brian, what you see?
Nothing. Darkness.
Nothing. Nothing. You couldn't tell me what color I am
Mm-hmm.
because I know people thought I was white simply because of my name.
Mm.
And I've been thought I was white just the way I talk, you know,
Mm-hmm.
simply because of my name and my way I talked. Because I didn't talk like I talk now, because see, I got old and my voice and started
Mm-hmm.
mixing up on me a little bit, and so I can't pronounce my words like I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
but uh, but things just done change. We just I don't know what to say, but
What do you think is a major contributor to that problem? How
about
did that start from your point of view?
from I got lost there. So
The
you have
disrespect, when do you think the disrespect started and the rearing of the children fell off? When did you start noticing that? And
well
what do you think is the
when I
problem?
was growing up, you talking about a later age.
Just as you grew along, you older than me. So when did you start seeing the separation of self-respect and community respect? When did you start
Oh,
seeing that?
oh, oh, yeah, I know what you're saying now. Yeah, it started when they took all the prayers and all this out of the school. That's when I really started seeing a big change. When they
Mm,
put all these restrictions in what kids could learn while they was in school. Like kids used to have to say Bible verses in my school. When I was coming up, and you said prayer and pledged allegiance to the flag, and so
mhm.
they might pledge allegiance to the flag now, but I don't know about the prayer.
I don't think they pledge allegiance no more. They stopped that when I was in school. I don't think we used to say the Pledge of Allegiance maybe up until second grade. So that's 1977. I don't
Yeah,
remember saying it after that.
we said it. I'm sure we said it up and well, I know we used to say a prayer because but we pledged allegiance to the flag too. I'm pretty sure, but I can't be right sure about it. But we respected. We had prayer. But when they passed that law that you couldn't hit a child,
Mm,
because I told you when I got to college and
hmm.
was doing my student teaching that
I
I threw
remember
this
that.
at this white boy. And so that's during the time that I stopped all this, you can call 911 on your mom and dad and stuff, and on 911, you gonna call on your mom and dad was trying to get up off of that floor. Wasn't no 911 But when they took all them rights away, you see, and they just eroding a lot of our rights and stuff, even yeah. So that's when our change started coming about with these kids and stuff. When the parents lost control and couldn't put that belt on them, all that you spare the rod, you spoil the child.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah,
I never prayed in school, but I definitely did the Pledge of Allegiance. I definitely did that. Like I can't remember it after second grade, Miss Zach class.
Yeah.
I remember that. I definitely remember Miss Zach class because she was one of the few white women. And let me tell you this, Miss Zach, I will always remember Miss Zach for all the wrong reasons. This young man, he was in my class, and Miss Zach slapped him and broke his jaw.
Yeah.
And his grandmother came to school. She was a little blind lady because he was being taken care of. Both his parents had that name, David Gleason. Well, I never knew what happened, but David was taken out of that school, and my grandma came to school, take him out. David never came back to school, and Miss Zach was taken out of that school. She was one of the, I think it was only 3 white teachers. Oh, it was 4. It was 4 white teachers in that school. Miss Zach, second grade, Miss Dow, who was excellent. Miss Dow was excellent, and Mr. T, and that's it. Miss Zach, Mr. T, Miss Dow. And by the time, like Miss Dow stayed, Mr. T was gone, and Zach was out of there. And T and Zach were friends. I remember that, and it was crazy. That was the craziest moment of my academic life when Miss Zach. I mean, she slapped David to the ground, and he was holding his mouth, and then he ended up, when he came back, he broke his jaw. She broke his jaw, and they got Miss Zach up out of there.
Well, they didn't slap you like that or nothing like that, but you sure got that ruler. That ruler, that paddle. The principal had a nice paddle that he always carried on his shoulder or something, And he didn't mind putting that paddle on you. Because I know when we was in high school, these guys used to sneak off and go to the movies and stay in there all day, and then come back to school and sneak back right across the fence. So we always had assembly. And so he would march them up there on the front of the stage. And he put that paddle on their butt in front of everybody.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
they weren't doing that in high school.
No, we had truant officers too, back
then.
Yeah,
I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah, bring you back, and boy, the principal march you right on up in front of that, and see you couldn't say a word, You had to take them licks.
My principal, his name is Mr. Payne. God rest his soul. He's a cool guy, and the young man, everybody in that school was scared of him. He ain't hit nobody, but he was quick to send you home for a bunch of days. Like he had this thing, like whatever you was doing, that's how he gauged how many days you was gonna be out of school. I remember one time he caught Willie Moe and a couple other guys shooting dice, and he told them, "Okay, we're gonna keep shooting." And he said, "You're gonna roll how many days you're gonna be out of school." And one dude rolled a 12. He rolled double sixes. That means he was coming back to school next year, because that means he failed all his classes, because you missed 10 days. It's an automatic failure.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Yeah,
From what I remember, Willie Moe rolled a 2.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a principal that boy, he walked down the hall slapping people. I forgot about that. he had to slap you.
Mm.
One day he came down the hall. He looked at me. He said, "Have I ever slapped you?" I couldn't tell a lie. He said, but Mr. Gaines that's the man I told you, said what you gonna be, you are now becoming, when we first got to Central, you
Okay.
know.
Yep.
Mr. Gaines was a strict disciplinarian. That's the one whooped you butt on that stage, and he wasn't no taller than I was.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm 5'8". so,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
but
That was Mr. Payne. That was Mr. Payne.
yeah, he had been in the Marines. He was one of the first people to go in the Black Marines, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was tough to be a little man.
Yeah, that's how Mr. Payne was. He would walk through the hallway. People would get quiet. You would think he had a value. Like,
I know
he
that's
could be,
right.
and as he walked through,
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's what
Yeah,
Mr.
Mr. Payne, you didn't play with Payne.
Yeah, well, you said Payne, and his name was Gaines, so they must have been Kane.
I'm saying, yeah, you say they got, yeah, Mr. Payne. His name is Stan Payne. He was, and by my senior year, because I was the class clown, and so I was always in his office. And then he thought I was making trouble, real trouble. And one day he come through the hallway, and I'm cutting up and got everybody laughing. And he walked up behind me. Everybody started laughing. I don't know he behind me. So I get to put, because it's lunchtime for me, I get to put my books and stuff in there. I'm like, okay, I ain't funny no more. And I closed the door. He was standing there. I said, whoa. He said, hey, come to my office. I'm like, hey, I'm not even in class. I'm like, how am I in trouble? He said, just come to my office. He took me to his office and he apologized. He said, hey, man, I'm sorry for being so tough on you. He said, is that what you be doing in class? I said, yeah. He said, man, I thought you was in here making a way. I said, all right, okay. And then my senior year, first day of school, he called me over to the announcer. School ain't even started. He said, hey, meet me in my office. And my friend, like, man, how you in trouble? School ain't even started yet. I don't know. He called me to his office. He said, hey, look around. I looked around his office. He said, no, look around real good. He said, you see everything? I said, yeah. He said, if you see it again, you're going to see it next year too. And I was like, okay. There ain't going to be no cutting up this year. I was like,
lesson learned, huh?
yeah, I said, oh, lesson learned. Yeah. I got you. He showed shut me down. He said, hey, take a good look. And I looked around. Yeah, man. That's when the teachers they cared about you.
Oh, definitely. We definitely had them care about us, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you, all my classmates and things, I know they appreciate it, you know, because you know, because we was mighty back there in them days, because Central was the school everybody wanted to come to that was black.
Mm.
Yeah, and they did anything they could to get there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, indeed. But we was the biggest school. We had the biggest class to graduate.
Yeah.
First class at Central was ours.
Mm.
I can't exactly remember how many it was, but I know it was roughly 500 or something. I mean,
Mine
somewhere,
too.
huh?
Mine too.
Yeah, but back then that was a lot of people because kids had to drop out to work and different stuff like that back then, you know, to help take care of their families and stuff. And it wasn't aid they have now for kids to stay in school. So they really don't have no excuse for not finishing school.
Oh, no.
A lot of kids back then had to work. Because,
Yeah. It's funny you say that because when I got to Westinghouse, and that no, but see the thing is, this would be my freshman year. This would be the end of my freshman year. That's 40 years ago, and I remember my class was different. You know, everybody paid attention to us, and to this day, people still tell, because we were the class of '88, and when we every year they have an alumni cookout, and it's in I remember being at year before last. I went to the cookout. I didn't go last year. I was at the ATM getting some money, and I had on my T-shirt. And this lady was at the other ATM next to me. She said, "I went to Western House too." I said, "Oh yeah." I said, "How you doing?" Because we the Warriors. And I said, "How you doing?" And she said, "I'm class of '91. What class are you?" I said, "I'm the class of '88. And she said, "Oh, you one of them." I was like, "Whoa, one of them? What that mean?" She's like, "Yeah, okay. Okay." I was like, "You were a freshman when I was in school. What you talking about?" Hey, we got a rep. And it was 555 of us. And I remember we cut up so hard one year in our freshman year. One time in our freshman year, they called our entire, it is sad, but it's true. They called our entire class to the auditorium, and they suspended us in sections. He's like, "I can't take all of y'all out of school, but this week is y'all. When they get back, y'all going." He suspended the whole class. So we just cut up. We cut up. We wasn't bad, but we
mistress.
We got into everything.
So we had some clowns in our class. I'm telling you.
We had
real clowns in our class too. And so they get us in trouble just by them clowning around, and we laughing at them, you know.
Yes, that's how we got it.
Yeah. No, I didn't clown because
I was the king of the clowns. I clowned every chance I got. And I knew my mom would beat me to sleep if she'd have caught me. This camera disappears, y'all. He'll be back in a second. Thank y'all for tapping in. I need y'all to hit the subscribe, hit the subscribe, hit the share. And here we go. We back in business. We back in business.
Well, what I did, I was trying to straighten something out, and I better leave stuff alone. I got going on. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. Okay, well, finish telling me about the family values that you want to share with the people, about the family values and things that you want to talk about, because I don't want to cut you off on that.
Okay. Well, certain family values, whereas, you know, we all gathered, like not my family, my mom and daddy love family life, you know, and they always seem to have a crowd around them and stuff like this. Like everybody that came from out of town mostly stayed at our house and stuff like that, because back then there wasn't no hotels and stuff like that where everybody rented and stuff like that. Back then, you had to know somebody, or you stayed in a boarding house or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but my parents was giving people, and they cared about their family and stuff like that. And my mama was one of them top-notch cooks. And everybody used to love to just visit to eat some of her food. And on Sundays and stuff like that, if you had a visiting pastor, most likely he was gonna eat at our house.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah. And when certain groups came into town by us having a piano, then they would come over to our house and practice and stuff. And so it was just like something always was happening, because we even had funerals at our house.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because they didn't have no place to take them, and they would just bring them down, you know, to have their funeral. Yeah. But
That's when everybody helped everybody. Yeah.
oh yeah, you know, cause my mama, like, she collected money for flowers and stuff in the neighborhood when somebody died or
Mm.
when somebody was sick or something. She would go around and get money enough to get something for them and stuff like that to give to them. You know, help the poor like that, you know. And man, let me tell you this though. When I was a little boy,
Mm-hmm.
but one person had a TV in the neighborhood. And on Friday and Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
sit out over here, everybody get a chair and get in front of that little bit of TV, you know, well, a little bit of screen. There wasn't no big screen. But we sit there and watch them movies and stuff
Mm-hmm.
until they cut off about 9 o'clock at night because the TV went off by 9.
Mm-hmm.
That was something like during the summertime. That's how we, you know, first TV in the
Mm-hmm.
neighborhood. We had a telephone,
Mm-hmm.
and guess how many numbers was in that telephone?
I mean,
4.
wow.
That's all the numbers you had in there. And that meant it was less than 10,000 people in that had telephone.
Mm.
And so we had I was like the errand boy because people would give my mama's number to their relatives or something from up, in Chicago or somewhere like that. So
Mm-hmm.
they could call to get in contact with them. So they would call
Wow.
us, cause they would call us, and then
Mm-hmm.
I had to go and run and tell them that they had a telephone call, and
Mm.
then they'll come back and then they'll call them collect. Cause
Mm.
you had to pay for them calls, them long distance calls back then.
Yeah. I can remember that.
Yeah, but yeah, we had the only phone, and then that my mama just that kind of person, She would
Mm.
tell them that you want to, because everybody came from up the country, as we called it back then, and so they want to get in touch. They would call us,
Mm-hmm.
and I get me a dime. It's all depending on how far you stayed that I had to go. That you had to pay me a penny all the way up to a dime or something like that.
I was like, you sitting there waiting on the phone to ring.
Man, I always had a way to make money though. After I got my little butt whooped, whoop was stealing the church money.
Uh-oh. You got to tell me what happened with that.
Yeah, my daddy caught me one day because I was just getting a quarter or something like that. Then I was gonna fool around and get me a whole dollar one time to go to the movies. Go to the movies. So daddy knew because I helped him count the church money. But
Okay.
I ain't think he gonna remember nothing like that. How much I got, but as long as I was getting them dimes and quarters, I was doing okay.
Okay.
So I got to be greedy. And so he caught me that time.
Uh-oh.
He called me and said, son, said, you been in that church money? You better not lie.
Yeah, you lie. It's worse.
I learned that real early. But anyway, I said, yeah, sir. He said, why did you do that, John? I said, I wanted to go to the movies and get me some popcorn and some hot dogs and something. He said, didn't you know that was the church money, son? I said, yeah, sir. He said, well, why did you steal God's money?
Oh.
I said, I don't know, Daddy. He said, come here. He said, get in this sack. You know what a croaker sack is?
Yeah.
My daddy put my little butt in that croaker sack. and took me in there to the kitchen and put me up on the meat hook. Cause we had a meat hook where we hang the ham hocks and in the hams and stuff like that up. And he put me on one of them hooks. And then he got his belt off and he said, whack. And when he hit that whap, boy, I tore that sack off like I was Superman. I bust out of that sack and started running out the back door. Ran out the back door and turned the corner. And I wore short suspenders back then. And I hit that curve. And when I hit the curve, I ran into the lady's fence next door. And she had barbed wire up there because we used to climb over this all the time. And I caught a piece of that barbed wire. And it snatched me back into my daddy's. My daddy was, I was still trying to holler. I ain't even got my holler out yet. I was still trying to holler. That's what I learned. That should not steal.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Like they say, I'm gonna tell you once, and then the world gonna show you.
Oh yes, sir, man. And then I still didn't learn my lesson though. No, this was later on. This years ago after that. I was in the Navy then. And some guy, we always, gathering around, drinking beer and stuff. And nothing but this guy come up there and talking about he got a key to a storage shed over there where they inventory out different clothes and different stuff out of the service. Mm-hmm. And then all we got to do is go over there and we can get us all we want, which was good stuff. They just was going to inventory it out. Mm-hmm. But lo and behold, they had this place set up, surveillance, so they could see who was trying to catch who was stealing that stuff. But somebody was stealing all the big stuff like stoves and refrigerators and furniture and stuff like that. But we just was getting clothes, hat, and shoes and stuff, But anyway, they caught us when we got on the bridge. They was at the back and they was at the front. So we ain't have nowhere to go. They throwed us in the bridge. Everybody was in the separate rooms and stuff. And they put the biggest light in my face I ever seen in my lifetime, questioned me about why I did this. Who was the leader and all this kind of stuff. I ain't know nothing. All I know, we was sitting up there messing around, drinking beer and stuff, and then next thing I know, we over here getting something that didn't belong to us. And so, anyway, after the night of questioning and everything, they put me back in the cell. And I'm just in there praying, Lord. I know my dad told me, thou should not steal. And I done stole something, and I got to tell him I done stole something again. But this time, I could get kicked out of service.
Oh, man.
And I didn't want to get kicked out of service like that. I just prayed. About 2 days later, they came to the cell and said, get your stuff. You can go.
Wow.
I said, I was glad to hear that. You can go. And so I said, well, what's going on? They said, well, we just, you can go. And don't you tell nobody about what done happened.
Oh, wow.
I said, I'm not gonna tell nobody. And then when I got back to my duty station, they act like it nothing happened,
Okay.
But anyway, they was surveillancing that for to catch them big guys.
Yeah.
Stuff out of there with the with them tractor trailers and stuff. You know, they were getting a lot of stuff out of there at one time and going out the gate with it. And if they had arrested us, then it would have known that they caught somebody for stealing, and that would have probably broke down the other operation. That's where they catch the big guys. I said, Lord, thank you. 'Cause I know I ain't supposed to be stealing nothing, you know. And see, that's one time I know God was on my side, because I got talked into doing something that I know was wrong. And all I had to do is remember that sack. So whenever I think about that sack now, I don't do it. Yeah, but you know, that's a life lesson I learned real hard there. Because I could have ended my career in the service right there. But you know, all of us that was involved in that, they shipped us all over the United States.
Oh wow.
And left me right there in Newport. But that's how I got on the ship.
Okay.
So, yeah. And so, because I didn't have that much time left then, because I had spent a lot of time in the hospital. I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned to me about marriage and these young men. I would like for you to talk about that too.
Marriage and young men. You got to go through all the wives and all this other stuff. All that. We got time to talk about all that right now.
Yeah, we got time. If you got time, I got time.
Okay. Well, see, I don't want nobody to be getting bored listening and stuff like that.
Hey, I'm enjoying myself, and I'm looking at the numbers. People are enjoying themselves. They stand. So
okay, well, okay. I can start with my first child, mama, and because that's my oldest son, and I had just got out of service, and we go around there to this shack around now where we all hung out as young folks to dance and stuff like that. And so I saw this little old bottle of 8 come in there. You know what a bottle of 8 is?
I just
Figure 8. She was fine. Yeah, well, she was a bottle of 8. That's what we used to call them.
Oh yeah,
Figure
8.
8.
Yeah, okay.
Come in there looking good, you know. But I didn't know she was a young girl. Well, she looked like she was an older girl, old enough to talk to her and stuff like that. Cause I'm about 21 or somewhere along, and then I got out of service. And we got to talking and gotten together and stuff, and so eventually, you know, she got pregnant. But the thing about it was, when she got pregnant, she was pregnant she was about 4 or 5 months pregnant. And so I was working at Brooklyn Field here in Mobile at the time, because I was just working till I could go to start college. And because I was going to college that year. And I came around to her house, and her daddy was sitting on the porch. And so I said, Charlie still home? He said, no, they gone. I said, what? They gone? He said, all of them gone. I said, oh Lord, what's gonna happen? He took me in the house, showed me that she had cleaned the house up spick and span, cooked him a nice big meal, and left her and the kids. She had, I don't know how many kids it was, but it was at least about 5 of them or 6 or something like that. But she had gotten the kids and gotten all their clothes and everything. She must have had all this plan or something. But that house wasn't left nothing in there but stuff that was there.
Mm.
And she left town.
Mm.
And he says, they gone. I said, you don't know where they gone? No. I said, oh Lord. So I'm worried, because I'm thinking about my baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so eventually I went to school. And shucks, it was about 2 years, maybe somewhere along in there, before she got in touch with my mama. Finally, got in touch with my mama and found out that they live in New York City. And so she told my mama that she was coming down and she was going to see her baby, to see the baby.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted her folks to see the baby. And so she brought the baby out. But see, I was in college at the time, and so my mama didn't know how to call me up there, because the
Mm-hmm.
only thing I could do was call home. She couldn't call up there for me. And so I didn't know the baby was home, and so I could come and see him. But I didn't see my son until a few years later,
Mm.
and but she got married, or she met another guy during that time. And plus I had met my first wife. And
Mm-hmm.
so things had just moved on.
Mm.
And so we kept in contact. But that was it. But I wasn't really able to go see him until really after he was about 13 or somewhere along in there, before I could really go and visit him in New York. You know? But she's, we was supposed to get married,
Mm-hmm.
simply because back then they had them shotgun weddings anyway. So you got a girl pregnant, you got to take care of it. And
Mm-hmm.
so I respected her enough to do that, but it just was unfortunate, that her mama had to leave her husband because he was an alcoholic, and
Mm.
she got tired of his mess. And so that's what she did. Left them all here, left him here.
Man, that's
Yeah,
tough.
yeah. 'Cause shoot, them kids was shoot. My son was grown
Mm-hmm.
before his kids saw him again. 'Cause a few of
Mm.
them came down here, and I took them over to where they told me he might be staying, which he was still staying in the same place, and so it wasn't no problem on that, because I knew where they stayed anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But that was sad.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. But then I was married too, so I had to. I was in school, and see my. Well, I shouldn't have never gotten married, simply because my daddy. See, this is a lesson about not listening.
Mm-hmm.
My daddy and my mama didn't want me to get married till I
Mm.
finished college.
Okay.
But no, I love this girl.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
my granddad even tried to bribe me by helping me buy me a brand new car.
Wow.
No, the old granddad, I turned that down. And that rest didn't leave me nothing when he died. Yeah, he sure didn't. But just for not listening.
Wow.
But anyway, I got married. And so We did all right. We had to struggle because I had to get a job then. My VA check was gonna take care of me and her both, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I had to get a job. And so that's how I started working with McDonald's.
Oh yeah, I remember you told me that.
Yeah, I started working with McDonald's as a counter age, you know, a
Mm-hmm.
waiter, and worked up from, you know, I became the head chef and all that, you know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
on the way up. But I was going to school too, so I only worked part-time,
Mm-hmm.
except for the summertime. But most of the time during the summer, I went up to Cleveland to work with her daddy, because he was a bricklayer. And
Okay.
shoot, yeah, he was a bricklayer. And shoot, I was making $7.25 an hour back then in '67.
Oh,
And you know,
that's a lot of money back then.
it was $1.25 down here in Alabama. That was the
Oh,
minimum wage down here. But I would go up there during the summer and I would work, you know, with him. And
okay.
then I come back to school. But when our I let me see, before then, my first son was born,
Mm-hmm.
and and that was my namesake.
Okay.
He had a congested heart, and so he didn't live to get to know but about 7 months old.
Oh man, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and so this was going into my last year of college when he got, you know, really sick. And so I was going between Huntsville and Birmingham
Mm-hmm.
to go to the children's hospital there in Birmingham to,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to visit him when I could. But my wife, you know, she could stay, you know, with him
Okay.
and stuff like that. But, he just was too little. They couldn't operate. They was, you know, if he had a in this day and age, they could have fixed his heart before he was born, you know, or
Mm-hmm.
no and stuff like that. But medicine one, they had to wait a certain time before they could operate on it. And
Mm-hmm.
so you give that time out. But anyway, that really upset me, you know, because I'm in college and I was trying to visit him too. And
Mm-hmm.
so that meant I missed a lot of classroom hours and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I had grades to pass in all my courses and everything, except one of my instructor. He wanted to say I didn't have enough classroom hours to for him to give me a grade. So I had to end up spending another semester in school simply because of that.
That's
But
ridiculous.
yeah, but the
Did he
thing
know your
about it,
circumstances?
yeah, sure did.
That's
And
ridiculous.
see, that was my minor. What make it so bad? I was minoring in economics, and that was my minor. So I knew my minor. I had straight A's in my minor.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But I ain't have enough classroom hour for that course that I needed. You know, so
See,
I
yeah.
had to come back to him that next semester
Oh
to
wow.
teach the same course. Don't you know I gave him hell that first 2 weeks?
I would have. I
Every time
understand.
he go to answer a question, I put it out. Every time you go to say something, I put it out. And so I was disrupting the class. So he just finally said, "You proved your point. I got you." But I still couldn't graduate until the next year. you know,
That's
with
ridiculous.
yeah, I couldn't graduate with my class. But anyway, he cost me that little time. That's how I missed that job really.
Mm.
Because you know, I don't know what I told you about me wanting to be a designing furniture, right? Did I tell you that?
No, we never
Well,
talked about that.
yeah, because you know, after I decided I wasn't gonna be a teacher, then I started putting an application elsewhere.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, before I left, you know, took that job with McDonald's in,
Mm-hmm.
you know, Northfield, I had decided that I want to put some more applications in before I finished college. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so I could take some trips and stuff like that to see which
Mm-hmm.
job I wanted to take. But anyway, I applied for this job building furniture at one of the big furniture companies. And
Mm-hmm.
they told me to send in a scale model of what I designed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I said, oh no, yeah, the application I had to send them in a design
Mm-hmm.
of furniture I wanted to build,
Okay.
and I had to build it to scale of 1 inch, one on a 1 inch scale.
Okay.
And so I built that, and then I shipped it to them and everything. So they didn't call me back until I was in Cleveland because my second child was born. Well, yeah, my second child was born. Yes, my daughter was
Mm-hmm.
born in Cleveland, and I was up there during the time that they called my daddy to tell me that they wanted to for me to come in for an interview.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm up there, and I should have been back home that Thursday,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm up there, and I raced my car that Wednesday, I think it was. I was fooling around that Tuesday, racing my car because I had a 65 Sport Fury, and I didn't want nobody to pull up beside me and say, Whitney, you know, we gonna hit it. And I hit that wrestle that day. And that wrestle
Oh no.
tore up my transmission. Tore up my transmission. And so I had to spend the next day up there working on my transmission and getting it rebuilt
Mm-hmm.
and to put it back in. And so I mean I couldn't leave until that Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
So that means I ain't get back home until that Friday. Back to
Mm-hmm.
Mobile until that Friday.
Okay.
But when I got back home, it was about 3 o'clock or somewhere along in there, 4 o'clock. It was about 4 o'clock when I got back home to my
Mm-hmm.
daddy's house.
Okay.
And my mama said, my daddy said, you had a call from those people that you were looking for that job on that furniture
Mm.
job. I said, oh yeah. And he gave me the number. I called the number. And the number just said, boom, boom. But see, it was in a different time zone. I think
Right.
it was in Indiana or somewhere. Oh,
Eastern
I don't
Standard
know.
Time. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a different time zone. And so that means they was closed at 5 o'clock. I mean, it was six, what? That was
4 o'clock
4 o'clock.
they closed. Four
Yeah,
o'clock
it
your
was
time they
5 o'clock.
closed.
Yeah, yeah. And so they had closed. So this was on a Friday. So I got up early that Monday morning and called around, it was 6 o'clock when I called, and it was 7 o'clock well, no, it was 8 o'clock. I called at 7 o'clock, and it was 8 o'clock
Mm-hmm.
when they opened up. And the man told me, he said, Mr. Bond, he said, I thought you didn't want the job because we
Wow.
had waited on you to contact us back, before Friday, because I had to contact them that Friday, because they were going to give it to the next person in line. But dumb me didn't say, well, man, Can you think about me the next time y'all hire somebody? But I had a family, so I had to think about them too, you know. And so,
Indeed, indeed.
yeah, and so, like I said, my boss offered me this job in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
And so a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I got the job at McDonald's in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
That's tough.
Yeah,
That'd have been your dream job, huh?
definitely. There was, because it still is, except that I moved around so much in life that I couldn't get me a shop. All I needed was me to shop and the equipment to start it, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
every time I get in position to do this, you know, marriage and all this kind of stuff, you know, like I told you, if if me and my first wife had stayed together all my life, I know I would have had, you know, a shop, you know,
Mm-hmm.
built to furniture because I wanted to build your dream house, Brian, you know, and build the furniture that you had. You whatever you kind of furniture you could thought of that we could build. That's what I wanted to do.
Wow.
Hmm. And see some of your cousins, one of your cousins was an architect for, meaning he was a photographer for an architectural magazine.
Oh wow.
His name was Robert Vaughan.
Okay.
Yeah, and he went all over the world photographing houses that they build, people's dream houses that they build from the beginning until the end. And he put that in that architectural magazine every month.
Oh wow. That's
He had
nice.
a, yeah, he had a section where he'd be working on a house or something. Every month he had a upgrade in there
Mm.
until the house was finished. And man, some of them houses they built, Lord have mercy. That's what I wanted to do, build a dream house.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow. Definitely. And see, that's something that I would encourage. You know, hearing something like that, I hope people will let their young people hear that because you could take a hobby much like this and turn it into a profession. You know,
Oh yeah.
a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
people take pictures and they're random pictures and you can convert that into a dream situation.
Oh
You were good
yeah.
with your hands. You could turn that
Mhm.
into a dream situation. So I say this on my traditional everyday program all the time. God didn't make any blanks. You know,
No.
everybody is good at something. So that right
Damn.
there is proof that hey, no matter what the dream is, if you dream it, it can happen.
It sure can. Mine's happened, but it just didn't happen the way I wanted to, but
Hmm. Hmm.
when I wanted it to, or anything like that, because I still built things. Because
Hmm.
when I was over there at International, shoot, I was always creating things, you know,
Hmm.
and by learning how to weld and pipe fitting and sheet
Hmm.
finishing and all that stuff, I learned a lot of things.
Hmm.
And so I put all that together. And
Hmm.
so my shop that I had was together. And
Hmm.
whoever went with me, we had fun, you know, enjoyed it. And I tried to train everybody that came my way, you know. And everybody wanted to work with me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's good. And, you
Oh
know, like along the way, I didn't get that in depth, but I did pick up welding. I did pick up sheet metal. Just hanging with my friends and working on their cars, I picked up auto mechanic stuff. You know, enough
yeah.
stuff to keep stuff running. So, and that's
Oh,
something else that's missing. People don't want to just get their hands dirty. Oh, I'll have somebody else do it. No, why don't you learn how to do it? You
well,
know.
that's what I was, because I was gonna be doing nothing but drawing them. I wasn't gonna
Hmm.
be building them, the furniture. But
Hmm.
I was gonna build it myself eventually, you know.
Hmm.
That's a,
Hmm.
but ain't no dirt and ain't no grease in building furniture.
I'm not, ain't no grease in that. Yeah, yeah. And you put it together.
Yeah. But
And that's what I really believe that's what's missing. Like a lot of people live in apartments only. I learned how to put a dimmer in a house before I might learn how to do that before I learn how to wash my clothes.
right,
I know how to do that. I knew that you couldn't get it. Like a lot of people think if you touch the wires in a regular house, you'll die. No, it'll just give you a little shock. It ain't enough energy running through your house just to kill you. But I learned that, and just being around my grandfather and stuff like that. I learned that type of stuff. And people don't know. I know how to install, like, instead of just having regular lights, put a dimmer in. It takes about 4 minutes. Two things: hook them up, plug it back in, screw it back into the wall, and then you can dim your lights. And living in an apartment, you don't learn that type of stuff. You need to buy a house. Like my buddy Steve, he down there with you. Well, he in Jackson, Mississippi. Good friend of mine, Steve Lott. He watching. What's up, Steve? He was repiping his house last year.
Yeah, you can do it, man. You can do it. All you got to do is get that square and keep it straight. Level.
Mm-hmm.
You can keep stuff level and square. You're all right. But I learned a lot from my daddy. Because my daddy built on to our first house. Well, on the every house we stayed in. Yeah, he built us. I know the house we first lived in when I was a little boy.
Mm-hmm.
It had just a bedroom, and my sister and I slept in the living room. And it had a kitchen and a bathroom, but didn't have nothing but a toilet in it. And so my daddy added on that side where the bedroom was. He built the room for my brother and I, and then he built a room for my sister on the back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so we had a room of, everybody had a room. Well, not everybody had a room, because me and my brother shared the other room, but it was bigger than my sister's room.
Mm-hmm.
But he built all that himself. Plus, my dad helped build the first church that we had. Yeah.
That's something. I got we have a cousin named Frank up in where I don't know where you are to Tuskegee, but he in Tuskegee. He be posting where he building extensions to this day.
Okay.
And he my age, Frank my age, and he from Chicago. I don't know where he learned that from. And he do it all by himself.
Oh, you can. It don't take nothing but time. But see, that's part of my trait, building in my family. Because my brother, I could have kept that rascal straight in life, because he just got off on that dark side and just don't seem like he wanted to, It's because my brother went to school in the Navy for construction. Shoot, they used to go all over the everywhere that the Marines had to have a barrack or something like that. A base had to be built real quick, temporary base, something like that. He went on all the war zones and stuff like that, stuff. And so he was an A1 builder.
But it must be in the blood, because my son, he doing this electrician apprentice thing now.
Oh yeah, I told you, we got some talented peoples in our family, though.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I know, because I can tell you about some of them. We had an uncle. Well, I had an uncle, so I don't know how he would be to you.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but he was one of the highest paid executive in Alabama
Mm-hmm.
when he first came to Alabama in because he lived in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Yeah, he went to Temple.
Okay.
Yeah, but he was heavy. He was heavy. But he had a executive position with Redstone Arsenal in Huntsville.
Okay.
That's what, and see, I didn't meet him until I started school
Mm-hmm.
in Huntsville. And one of my aunts, his sister, told me that I had an uncle because, I didn't know of him really until I got to Huntsville myself. And so she was telling me that I had an uncle there, and she
Mm-hmm.
got in touch and gave me the number and everything. So I got in touch with him. And Lord, that was my mentor.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got out of touch with that man
Mm-hmm.
because his name was Samuel Vaughan.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can look him up because he he was he made more money than George Wallace that time.
Mm.
He made
Wow.
more
You
money than the
making more money than the governor.
government. Yeah. My uncle was heavy. His wife was heavy. And
Mm-hmm.
his kids are heavy, 'cause,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And see, that's why I'm glad we got in contact, because that's what I was saying. Like, one of my friends, he asked me, "Why were you trying to get in contact with your family like that?" I was like, "Because it can be potentially beneficial, not just in a sense of getting a job or adding some money to your life. It can be beneficial for the mentorship portion. You know, you might have something inside of you and you don't know where it come from, and that person can help guide you through that." And that's why I
Yeah.
was talking. I said we learn everything about everything in the world, but well, in the Black community, to me, it seems like we don't learn enough about who we are,
Yeah.
and this thing helps us.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And see, all I can say, can I talk about my uncle a little bit?
Yes, yes, please do.
Yeah, because he was a mentor to me because during the time that my son died and
Mm-hmm.
I was depressed, and really I ain't because my VA benefits had expired, with the 4 years. And
Mm-hmm.
so that means I had to pay for that next semester.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was depressed because my son died
Mm-hmm.
and everything, and I just really was ready to just go on quit, and just
Mm-hmm.
forget about it. But my uncle said, "No, you ain't quitting." And he gave me $500
Mm-hmm.
to re-enroll and everything so I could go on, get my degree.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that Rasta wouldn't take that money back.
See?
He wouldn't take it back, and I tried to give it to him till he just told me that he wasn't gonna take it.
Mm-hmm.
And just give it to some charity or something of my choice.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got a cashier check and to his charity, one of his
Mm-hmm.
charities. And that's the only way he accepted that money back.
See?
Yeah.
And see, that's and we see, that's what I'm talking about. We always complain that families ain't right now, families, but we don't come together because you
Yeah.
never know who out there, even with a kind word or a financial gesture or just some leadership. That's what's missing. We don't talk to each other.
Yeah.
We don't know each other. We don't talk to each other. We can't help each other, and then we complain that there ain't no help.
Yeah. But I met some good peoples in my lifetime, you
So have I.
know. Yeah. And genuine peoples.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I like to gravitate to peoples like that. And like I told you, we just hit it off, and so
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad
Mm-hmm.
to
Thank
share
you.
some things. Yeah. Because
Feelings
Lord
mutual.
knows, yeah, because I know my parents raised me right. Whether I found it or not, I was raised right. I just got in the devil, man, along the way. So
same here. Same
yeah.
here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? Let's go ahead, wrap this up. It's been last time we did 2 hours. Now we close to 2.5.
Oh
But I'm
Lord.
enjoying it.
Man, I told you, you know, it's just easy to talk to you, you know.
Oh, thank you.
All I can say, when you get to Mobile, but you got a mouth, you better have your ear open or something.
Hey, they open. I'm telling you.
I've been telling people about you and stuff because I told them what I was trying to do and everything. And so I said, you're going to help me out. And so I hope everybody else can help me out.
Anything I can do, I will. I promise you. Anything I can do, man. Like I say, you come on as frequently as you want to, because the stories that you tell are worth a bar of gold. Every story is worth a bar of gold. You know, you keep giving me things that I never heard of, never saw. You know, I don't know anything about the South. You in the South. You know, and that's why I say, man, anytime you want to come on, if you got somebody who love to talk, I'm here to listen, because this is my, like they call it, a passion project. I would, if I could, I would talk to everybody in the South, every black person that's older than me in the South, in the United States of America, and let people know what's going on, what went on, what's going on, and what we need to get back to. So anytime, and anybody that you know that want to talk, I want to listen.
Okay, well, I've been telling her, I told one of my cousins for sure, you know, because she, you know, she can fill in a lot of things during the mass, you know, coming up and stuff too. You know. So we was good cousins back there in them days, you know. Only time we changed us from being real thick cousins was because her husband became a pastor. And me and my habits, you know, that I just didn't want to, you know, try to make people think the wrong thing about her. So, you know, and we used to be thick as thin.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, I needed this. This really helps me, because like you said, when you have people in your life that's going to enrich you, it just makes your life better.
Oh yeah. Well, that's all I know, because I ain't tried to hurt nobody. You know, and I know we done had problems and stuff inside, but I can't think about two people that I can really say that don't hate me. So you can almost guess who was that is.
Yeah, you told me about one of them. All right, no, you told me about both of them. Yeah. But it's a couple of them out there that hate me, but hey, that's their bit. You hate me.
But I ain't do nothing wrong to them. It just they did something wrong to me, and then they just can't say I forgive you. You know.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So I'm you know what? Let me close this down. We'll talk right after this. I want to thank everybody. Then we'll talk like we did last time. I want to thank everybody for tapping in. Please hit that like, hit that share, leave a comment. You know, do everything that I ask y'all always to do. It is awesome. This was another awesome conversation. I look forward to seeing y'all tomorrow. I don't know what I'm gonna talk about tomorrow, but I'll be on tomorrow. And I have my buddy Luther coming up. I have Michael Horton coming up. I have and my buddy Jesse James coming up. And I have Ms. Nesbitt coming up. And they all hope if it's half as good as this, it'll be another great program. Thank y'all for tapping in, and I'll see y'all soon.
And it is necessary for those people who rule over us and who rule over African people the world over, if those people are to stay in power, they must destroy our ability to love each other in a healthy sort of way. This is why